Okay, I'm going to do the circlet of stars. I created at the very end of the previous video a layer for this to go onto. But if you didn't do that, do it now. Everything else in mine that is currently completed is still locked. So I've got my Part B reference layer locked. I've got the center, which is the eagle and the fleur-de-lis locked, and I've got the three, the concentric circles, which started out as 4 circles and is now 2 stroke circles and a band, are locked, and all of those pieces are pretty much complete. So if I turn it off, you'll sort of see where I'm going, and I'm going to do this circlet of stars, and then we'll move on to the text and the wavy line in the last couple of videos. All right, I'm going to use my shape primitives to get me a star, and I don't know why, I prefer to draw these not directly on the shape and then move them into position, because it's a little bit, I don't know, easier to see them when they're not against all that really active background patterning. But another option, and that's actually the one I'm going to go with here, is to pick a really different color. I know I took all the other colors out of the swatches panel, but I can make a different color as necessary. So if you want to pick something different, just so that you can really tell the difference between what you're doing, you could go with the red certainly, or you can go with something totally different that'll stand out a little bit more. So I've got the green. It'll allow you to see what I'm working on, and obviously when I'm got it in the correct position, the correct size, and all that kind of stuff, I will be able to switch it over to the blue. All right, so I'm going to drag it up to the top, and I really want to make sure that this is the correct size, because it is very, very difficult to get this ring of stars to look correct if you're not starting from the right size to begin with, because they're so close together that it's sort of tip to tip to tip, that even a subtle difference between it becomes a big deal. So we have the ability, of course, to do rounded corners, which is not at all what we're trying to do here, and we can tweak as well the radii. And I could have changed my settings initially, but I wasn't sure exactly what I was going to need. I can tell now that my inner radius needs to be a little bit smaller relative to my outer radius. And so I have selected all of the inner points of my star, not the outer parts, but the inner ones. And I've got them all selected at the same time because I can use the scale tool to scooch all of them in simultaneously. It's just one option for that. I personally like this approach. If you don't, you can move them independently. I'm setting the center point that I want it to work from, and now I'm going to push and pull my scale adjustment until I think they're in a better position. And to me, that looks a lot better. So continue to work with it and tweak it until you think your star looks good. And my angle is just a teeny bit off, because even the very top of this one isn't actually straight on, and I drew mine pretty straight on. So I'm going to angle it until it matches up as well. Once you get the one star looking correct, you're going to want to make it blue again if you made yours a different color like I did, and you're going to want to do a couple of other things, but the first of those is to count up the number of stars, and I didn't actually bother to do that. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 17, 18, 19, 20, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 30, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 40, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 51. All right, so there's 51 stars total. I'm assuming that's the 50 states and the District of Columbia. Some other organizations use Puerto Rico and Guam in their count, but it looks like we're dealing with 51 for the Boy Scouts in this particular scenario. Why the heck does that matter? Well, first of all, because we're trying to make this as accurate as possible, but secondly, because we need our angle of arc. You get the angle of rotation, or the angle of arc, by dividing 360, which is a complete circular rotation bit, by however many items you're trying to rotate. So I'm going to open up my calculator because I don't want to do that one in my head. And if I divide 360 by 51, I get 7.058. And I don't think it'll let me go that far, but I'm going to write it down anyway, and I'll figure out where I need to round in just a second. 7.058. Okay, so calculator came in handy. Got my 1 star selected. I know the center point of this overall shape because of my nice little concentric circles. So I can't remember, and I'll know momentarily if I have to unlock those to get access to the center point. But if nothing else, I can do this, Control Y. It allows me to come in and see all of my stuff, and I'm actually going to turn off the eagle for the moment so that it is not a distraction. And there's my nice little center point. I can use that as a reference as I go onward. Control Y or Command Y is under the View menu, and it's the turning off preview or not. In other words, right now I'm in the mode. If I go back into it, it lets me see that, and it toggles between preview and outline. I want to look at this in outline mode so I can easily see that center point. That's really, really important. All right, I've got my rotation tool. I have my star selected fully. Make sure it's not just the center points that I had a few minutes ago. Rotation tool. We've got my nice little center here, and I'm going to option click, which pops open the dialog. So option click or alt click to pull that up. Once you've got it, I'm typing in that 7.05. Oh, okay, helps. 58. It will let me go to 3 decimal places. So 7.058 degrees, and I'm going to make sure I click on the copy button. It will do 1 copy. Make sure that it looks the way you want it to. I think mine's good. And now I could keep doing that dialog box over and over again, but 2 risks there. You're probably going to accidentally shift your center point, and it takes a really long time to do it that way. Or Object, Transform again, which is Command D. And then, now that you know it's Command D, 50-ish times, and you get your complete circlet. And I can do Command Y to switch back out. And the only problem I have is mine are still green because I forgot to make it blue before I started doing this. It's not a difficult fix. It's annoying, but not a huge problem. And you can see that there's some subtle positional differences, especially along the bottom. It's fine. I'm not worried about it. This works in the way it needs to. It's actually a slight angle difference, or my fraction on the angle of arc was just slightly different than whoever created this originally, but I'm good. I'm going to select one of my stupid green stars, and I'm going to go to my object menu. I'm sorry, not objects, the select menu. I'm going to go to same, and I'm going to do same appearance. I could also do same fill color because it's the only green thing I got in here. But either way, I could do same appearance or same fill, and it's going to select all of my green stars because they're all green, and I'm going to make them blue. So anytime you accidentally forget to change a color and realize you're going to have to do it a bunch of times, that same setting, select and then same, can really be helpful in getting that group. I'm going to turn off this reference image so you can see how this is looking. And so now I've got the concentric circles, I've got the circlet of stars, I've got my center bit, and so I'm really making good progress on this. I need the text that's going to be within that blue ring, and I need the wavy line that's on the outside. So I'm going to do the wavy line next because it's, I don't know, it lets this come together a little faster, and then that allows me to do the text as the very last element. So I'm going to stop and restart the video, but that's where I'm going to be focused on next.